Doctor, you've been inquiring into life for some time now, in a way that seems significantly different than the traditional philosophical or religious approaches in both the East and the West. How did you come to this inquiry, if not through a guru or a particular set of techniques? And what is the nature of this exploration? We've been seeing a phenomenon in this country over the past decade, which has been called the emergence of the New Age or the Aquarian Age. Many people are involving themselves in various forms of meditation and psychic exploration. Is there really a new consciousness emerging, or what really is taking place?
This energy is already open to the human consciousness. So it's no longer a question of bringing down this energy on earth, it's there. And many people are touched by it, whosoever are open. But how far any particular individual will go will depend what is his or her goal. What do they want? What do they expect? So if you have already some image of this new age, then I think you have already limited it. Then you are trying to bring about a modification through certain techniques. And none of these techniques is new. It's important to understand that all these techniques are old, or modifications of the old. And they have been tried in the past and they have failed. If they had not failed, the whole thing would have been going on. It would have never been extinct or lost to humanity on a larger scale. So the very fact that it was extinct means that it was not applicable at some stage or the other. Now you can revive these techniques, and through that revival you can produce some phenomena, some effect, some result. But that result is a psychic phenomenon. That's not a transformation. So if you have any image or you have any particular technique to bring about this transformation, you have already limited it and you will not go past that. It will be a certain modification, and modifications have been going on all along. For a total transformation to take place, before the techniques can be touched, before you can use these techniques, freedom has to be discovered. And freedom is the freedom from self, freedom from the ego. Without this freedom from the self or freedom from the ego, there is no intelligence. And only when this impersonal intelligence uses these techniques may have some value. Otherwise, when the self or the ego uses these techniques, there is one of tools of power and only tools of accumulation of or strengthening of the self and ego. So I don't think a basic transformation will take place that way.
What is it that will bring about the transformation then?
Transformation can be only brought about by, first of all, a simple self-awareness and finding out what you really want or what you really don't want. And what are you? Who are you? Who is the seeker? Who is the experiencer? Without basically answering that question, if you're looking for answers, those answers will be half answers, not true answers. So first thing is a self-awareness and an inquiry into the nature of self, into the nature of your own conditioning, and to discover what you are from moment to moment. What are your complexes? What's your thought process? What are your hopes and fears and ambitions and dreams? To look at all that. And only when you look at that and look at that choicelessly, and it comes to an end. And in that state, when this self has come to an end, there is silence. And in that silence, intelligence is taken over, which has no compulsiveness, which has no anxiety, no tension, no conflict. When the mind is only an instrument of perception, then it sees and moves. Only when the mind has come to a point of perception, when it sees and moves, but does not come in conflict, in struggle, in effort, only then intelligence is awakened. So then, from that state of relative freedom, where intelligence is taken over, techniques may be used or may not be used. I'm not sure whether with the full awakening of intelligence, techniques would be necessary. Because sitting here, you could say techniques may be useful in that state. But when you reach that state, you find every day the intelligence itself can create its own techniques. The old techniques may not be necessary. Because I know in my own experience that what people have done in the past in 10, 20 years, people today could do in 10 days or 10 hours or 10 minutes. There was a time, there's still a sect in India, and there are the old sect, Sufis and saint sect, what you call Sant-mat, who are talking of the world and the subtle sounds and ahat sounds. They used to give a long discipline of mantra recitation, and then this mantra recitation will lead to subtle sounds, and subtle sounds will bring light, and then light will take you further, and there were various stages of unfoldment of this world. And many people would not be able to hear these subtle sounds after years of practice. It was a great achievement if they could hear these sounds. And today we find that many people just hear them without doing anything. Anyone who pays little attention, he can hear these sounds. So once the mind has become little sensitive, that mantra won't be necessary. If the mind has come to a certain sensitivity, these techniques won't be necessary. Some of these techniques are necessary to heighten the sensitivity of the mind. Not total sensitivity, but a relative sensitivity of the psychic level. So there these techniques had some value, but today we find that these techniques are becoming less and less necessary. People just come to it. And we have seen in the past also, some of these teachers who were traditionally trained through a mantra and things like that, their guru gave them a mantra. Many of these gurus have stopped giving mantras further. They are not giving it. I know of one or two gurus, teachers, who were initiated into this mantra technique. But now they find it's not necessary. So whether a technique would be necessary or not, it will depend upon the challenge. You cannot say beforehand that a technique is necessary, and techniques would evolve.